For all the unknowns about COVID-19, we are now painfully aware of a big reason why we continue to struggle with cases. And here is the answer.
All 50 states and territories across this country are opening up safely and responsibly. We slowed the spread. We flattened the curve. The reality is we're in a much better place.
The reality. Wonder what color the sky is in Pence's reality. Cases are popping up in so many places, and the twisted talk just came out of his really straight face is a reason why. Too many are doing what the VP and his boss suggest. Open fast, ready or not. That man is the head of the White House Coronavirus Task Force. No wonder why the response has been as weak as it has. Every actual expert on the task force says if you socially distance, wear masks, wash your hands, get tested, communities will get back to normal sooner. You keep others and yourself safe. You actually reduce deaths by the thousands, according to the estimates the White House relies on. And yet Trump and co. resist it because it sends a bad message. Think about that. That kind of crazy is incurable, and it is literally making us sick.
Can you tell me why you continue to do this, why the campaign continues to hold these rallies?
Well, the freedom of speech, the right to peaceably assemble is enshrined in the Constitution of the United States.
And in Arizona, one of the hardest hit states, you packed a church with young people who weren't wearing masks. So how can you say that the campaign is not part of the problem that Dr. Fauci laid out?
Well, I want to remind you again that the freedom of speech and the right to peaceably assemble is enshrined in the Constitution of the United States.
No freedom of speech? Freedom of speech. No freedom of speech? Come on. Come on. This isn't about personal liberty. It's about cheap politics. And this toxic infection of ignorance and arrogance has us in the worst shape in the world relatively. If prevaricating Pence is what the renewed COVID briefings are going to be about, we may have been better served by the past 2 months of silence. All 50 states are opening up safely and responsibly, he said. Then why did America just have its single worst day of case spikes since this began? All 50 doing it right? Yet some, the same that in almost every case took the Trump way to reopening, are shutting down again because this emergency has never been worse. Team Trump says the rate of new infections per test is going down. How can they say that with that straight face when it isn't true in at least 32 of our states? If we flatten the curve, why are daily new cases shooting up again? The reality is in the numbers. We are not in a much better place than we were 2 months ago. And that's because Pence and pals have a mask over their eyes instead of over their mouths. They refuse to see the obvious, and they spew the odious misinformation that has so many of us getting sick. If they're being straight with you, why would Trump say something as absurd as, if you don't test, there would be no cases? No. If we don't test, there will in fact be more cases because you don't know what you're dealing with, you can't allocate resources, and you can't do the tracing that we're still not doing enough of. Without testing, there's no containment. Without testing, it spreads like wildfire. Without testing and testing enough and testing the smartest way, you get exactly where we are. Like we've been warned would happen. Like we pleaded with the president to step up and avoid from happening. Now it is happening.